before we can actually start with this video here, I'm pretty sure you can tell that my voice is much more clear. And that's probably because of one thing. I got a new mic. And with this new mic, you're actually able to hear me clear and understand me much more better than whatever the hell I've been using beforehand. So with that being said, here's to a new tile, entirely different video, which is like the same one to the baddest vessels, the one that I made, but regardless, not the same. This one's entirely different, same concept, a little bit different, but regardless, if you haven't watched that one, probably go watch it. I don't think you regret it, honestly. The only problem with that one is just that still has my shit quality mic, so yeah, prepare for that, honestly. And if you still haven't seen my playthroughs or anything like that, you probably can go check those out too as well. And while you're at it, subscribe. I'll like it if you do it. But regardless, I'm not going to force you, because who does that anyways? So, enough of me talking now, and let's jump into the video. So, the way I'm going to do this is that I'm going to talk from left to right. From the very top left, move to the right, all the way to the very bottom right. And this image should help you understand which vessels I'm actually going to talk about here, and however long it takes to describe each one. I'll try to be quick, honestly, not trying to make this video too long, honestly, but yeah, that's my plan. And from starting from the very top left, we have the Adversary. Now, the Adversary is an easy answer to say yes to. By purely her figure alone is just outstanding right there and really overwhelming, but not the craziest so far yet, alright? It's not the craziest. But for starters, it is a really good build, honestly, where that she's not too overly buff, nor really just thick or just crazy, honestly, yet. So she has that fine build between that muscle build and the thickness, and it's just really appetizing and pleasing for your eyes, let's just be honest here, honestly. And regardless, however you take that, it's something that most guys will probably crave for, honestly, in the most ideal situation. But the only thing you gotta take notice is her, like, the way she would behave, honestly. She's very physical. And when I say physical, I mean physical. She will beat you, she will hit you, she will probably inflict so much bruises and wounds on you to the point where that you may not even get back up. And let's not ignore the fact that she's quite strong, so you're definitely gonna have a broken limb. Probably not one limb, honestly, but your whole body. Let's be for real. I don't think she's going to go easy on you. She's probably going to beat the shit out of you, honestly, and you're not going to stand back up. And I'm pretty sure what, as the saying goes, honestly, your pelvis will most likely be crushed, honestly, too. So, I don't think you'll be walking, too. So, yeah, that's the Adversary for you. She's really physical confrontation, so you're going to take one hell of a beating, honestly, from her. And, depending however you take this will depend if you live or not. So it's kind of like a one-trip journey, and there's no going back after this experience. So all I can say is proceed with caution, be wary, and you're most definitely going to be wounded and hurt. So be careful. Up next we have is the Tower. Now for the Tower, she's actually pretty damn big, and for mainly on her figure behalf, let's just say she's kind of like a giant, honestly. And when I say she's a giant, she really is a giant. Like, you fit on her palm, honestly. So she's like a tiny giant, but regardless, she's not actually a giant, actually. She's actually a goddess, and she's a demigod in this case. So she hasn't ascended yet, too, in this level powerhouse, honestly. But regardless, her figure is still outstanding and still impressive, because it's really well slim and well toned. So it's just nothing too crazy or very ridiculous, honestly. So maybe you like it, maybe not. But despite her figure, we also got to talk about her behavior or personality, honestly. So just like, you know how Greek mythology gods were, honestly, if you know anything about them, they were kind of like dickheads, honestly. Like every single one have their own egos, and for this one, she's no exception. She has her own egos, and she's a little bit cuckoo crazy. I say that because, well, let's be for real. She wants to take over the world, and she wants you to be the one to free her or help her. And in this case, she's willing to keep you as her pet, honestly. So when she does keep you as her pet, it's kind of weird nonsense. So it's just like, if you like that type of stuff, I guess the Tower is for you, honestly. That's like a whole next level of freaky shit too. But still, regardless, that is still smashable, and you're still able to hit. However, you be giving up your free reign of life, honestly. But the only problem here too is just like, if you're not careful and you piss her off, or you do something that she doesn't like, she will beat your ass. Yep. She will literally beat your ass. So, and let's just be honest, it's not really fun to get your ass beat by her too. So, by all means, be careful, proceed with caution. If you're not careful enough, she will kick your ass to death. The next vessel we have is the Spectre, and for the Spectre, the Princess is a ghost actually. So you probably think it's impossible, right? That's where you're wrong. Actually, for the Spectre, you're actually able to touch her physically, as she's able to touch you, but you can't touch her. So she has to allow you to touch her for anything to work, and despite the fact letting her touch you, she's actually freezing as well, so you will get hypothermia if anything happens, and you probably die from that. It also doesn't have the fact here that she's actually able to possess you, so depending what happens, she may or may not even let you, honestly, and she might just take over you. And if you don't like that, I don't think it really matters, because she does want to be free. So if you actually do anything to piss her off, make her mad, she will kill you. And this is the part that gets you a little bit confused, honestly, how this may or may not work, because even if you do allow her, or you actually do stuff with her, some reason when she does kill you, you don't get a cold sensation or anything like that. So it has to do something with touching the skin, or but not organs or actually inside or anything like that. I don't know how that works. That's like an entirely different thing. And when she does touches you, she becomes solid. She becomes solidified, and she has this whole plasma system thing. I don't know how the hell that works, but that's like an entirely different subject, honestly. But regardless, you're still actually able to do anything with her too. Just be careful, because if you make her crazy or anything like that between the line, she will lose her shit, she will lose her sanity, and she will go crazy. And she will may not kill you, depending however you play this out. So, like I said, just be careful. Be wary of her. She's nice, but don't take that for granted, because she will kill you, and I don't think she will actually have regret. I mean, for a brief moment she will, but regardless, she don't care. But yeah, that's the Spectre for you, and like I said, it would actually be impractical and impossible with all means, and even if you still manage to, you probably die before actually anything happens. So that's the Spectre. Now the next vessel is the Nightmare, and for the Nightmare, this one's impossible to smash her. The reason it's impossible to smash her is purely by the fact what she is. And what she is, I came up to the conclusion that she's a spirit, and this spirit is very vengeable. So she's filled with a lot of hate, honestly, and with that so hate, she's very lethal. And when I say lethal, I really mean lethal, because the moment you talk to her or be in her presence, you drop dead. It don't matter. You drop dead. And by the moment you see her and she comes in close proximity to you, you die. Or the moment she comes behind your back, you die. It don't matter. Like, by the fact that her own presence is noticeable, you will die the moment you sense her. And as she gets closer, you get closer to death immediately. Until she reaches like a certain radius distance, you drop dead. Yeah, it don't matter if you don't see her or sense her or anything like that. Maybe that does play a role. I don't know. They didn't really tell how that works, honestly. But as far as I'm concerned with, if you see her and you're in a proximity range, she gets closer to you, you will die and drop dead. And if you don't run away fast enough, your legs will go numb and you die. So that's like the only thing you have to take worry of note of the Nightmare. It's just impossible to do anything with her at that case, because like I said, her own presence will kill you, and no matter how it proceeds or how you do it, you die before you actually talk to her, or rather do anything with her actually. For this next vessel, it's called the Razor. And for the Razor, this one is possible, but without some consequences, of course. And those consequences has to be due with her behavior, honestly. That's another big factor, and probably her figure, honestly. Now, you're probably looking at her figure, honestly, and thinking, what's wrong with it? And the reason what's wrong with her is just like, yeah, her body is actually made out of metal. Yep, metal. And you're probably thinking, oh, that's a good thing, right? No, it's not actually made out of just metal. It is actually made out of metal blades. And with that being said, every part of her body, her bones, are blades. all of it is metal blades. So all of it is sharp. Literally, it's a retractable blade. So, like, basically, she's able to split her arm open and send a blade out to stab you. Or her leg to send a blade out to stab you. And it doesn't help the fact, too, that she wants to stab you. And she wants to backstab you because, by purely out of fun, she just wants to. So, by any means, you're going to die. And she don't care. She does not care how this proceeds, how it happens. She will kill you on the spot. It don't matter. It really doesn't matter. Because all she wants to do is to stab you and murder you and kill you. And that's practically it for her, honestly. Because, well, that's all she wants to do. So, yeah. So, for the razor, just don't. It's just impossible. And if you're willing to try so, you'll die. Up next we have is the beast here. And for the beast, this one is fully an animal. Not a furry. I mean, so technically is. But this is all focused on the animal aspect here. And regardless however you take that in, it's nearly impossible to figure out her species, honestly. What type of cat she's supposed to be. It was never disclosed fully here, but I'm guessing it's like a lion to a panther or mountain lion, something like that, honestly. Judging by her tail and her build, but it's kind of a little bit confusing, honestly, once you see her, because she's skinny as hell. That's the thing. She's actually hella skinny. For this one, at least, she's skinny as shit. So she's like all bones, basically. But still, regardless of all bones, she's incredibly strong. And when I say strong, I mean she's strong enough to bite you in half and rip you in half in one bite, honestly, too. And it doesn't help that her paws or claws, honestly, here are pretty damn sharp. So, and they leave pretty nasty gashes, and they're pretty big too. So it's just like, I'm pretty sure she's going to hunt you down the moment you interact with her or find her. So don't. In many cases, just don't bother. Like I said, it's impossible, and no way in hell that's going to work. And all that, honestly, is just impractical, honestly. It just wouldn't work by many means. This is impossible, and I recommend not to even bother or try or have any thoughts about this by all cases, because like I said, you're gonna die. Nothing's good is gonna come from this, and if you're still going to, be prepared to be swallowed whole and digested in her. Up next we have is the witch, and for this witch, she's a furry, and this furry is more aligned to the human aspects and less of the crazy animal aspects. And for her, she's a cat. She's a small type of cat. And this small cat, I don't know which one. It could be any, honestly. There's a lot of them, honestly. So that's all I know from the information I gather. And overall, it's not really bad. Her appearances and figure is not terrible in a sense, too. But it's more like her personality or behavior on her behalf that makes her pretty unlikable or unable to handle or maybe scare her for your life, honestly. Whereas that to her personality, honestly, or behavior, she's very cunning. So cunning, she fights dirty, she's very backstabby, and betrayal, and honestly, by all means, I don't think that's something we all want, honestly, too. So it's just like, despite how this Smashable level goes, honestly, it's kind of one-time gig, honestly. Like, it's a one-time journey, and depending how you perceive this, honestly, can make this even more meaningful, impactful, or worse, but regardless, it'll end up in a terrible state. I don't think there's even a good outcome, honestly, and by all means, it's practically impossible to actually figure out a good lining of truths, honestly, here, and it really doesn't matter who does the backstabbing first. Either you or her, it still end up the same way, and it doesn't really change. You're still going to get the same results no matter what. The only thing is just that you just did it first, or she does it first, and whoever takes the initiative will be the victor. But as you know how this turns out, there is no victor. So for this, Smashable, but becomes a lot of problems, honestly. Up next is the Stranger, and for this vessel, this one is really weird in a sense too. And when I say weird, I really mean weird, because as you know, there's 5 princesses for this Stranger one, but that's not the worst case. The worst case is what happens to them. For said so, these 5 princesses, they're all their own person, honestly, and in this case, all these 5 princesses were actually fused into one host. So that's like the weird part, where every single one of them were fused into one body. And with that being said, none of them are the same. And however, it's kind of is confusing, because some of them did die as they transcended into one host, and as they mixed into one, some were dead, some are alive. And the weird part is that there's no core. All 5 of them are the core, and all 5 of them move differently. So not only one of them's moving, but all of them are at the exact same time. They all got their own cognitive function and brain, honestly, too. So it's just like, it's not just one at a time. You're dealing with 5 or what's left of them instantly. And as being said too, you know, each princess have their own assets, and this one just gets multiplied by 5 times, and by all means, that's just a little bit too much. Okay, that's a far stretch, honestly. It's not a little, that's a lot, alright? You're dealing with like 10 sets of limbs, honestly, per leg and per arm, and that's just crazy. And by all means, I don't think that's gonna be any enjoyable, honestly. And if that's your weird level of freakiness, honestly, I guess this is what you're gonna get. But I don't know, because this is kind of horrifying to look at and deal with, and I know that may sound mean and all too, but let's be real here. I don't think we're actually gonna hit, but still, regardless, it is actually still possible and still smashable. But like I said, this one comes with high taste, honestly. Now, this next vessel is called the Prisoner, and this one's a little bit tricky because the Prisoner is actually just a regular princess. There actually isn't anything interesting about her, honestly, besides her personality or behavior, honestly, too, which is just very cautious, and she's very like to take things slow and build up trust. And I guess she doesn't really trust you, so she might be the one taking the initiative at this part too. And honestly, it's still yes, honestly, of course, the question is smashable. Yes, 100% guaranteed. She's still normal, let's just say that. And overall, I don't think it's even the question of doable. It's the question of feeling, honestly, in this case, where it's just like, it's not really the same, what you call it? It's a feeling, you know, when you think about it, and, you know, the ideology of Smashable, honestly. It's just too contradictory to her, and I don't think she cares, honestly. But regardless, I think she probably will let you in and just be slowly proceeded, and, well, nothing special will happen. That's basically it for her, and there's nothing much to say about the Prisoner, but then it's just like some gal who's cautious, takes things slow, and probably the one taking the initiative, and would not let you, or she might beat your ass, honestly. I mean, I know she can do that too, and maybe she would, maybe not, but regardless, there really isn't much to say for the Prisoner here, sadly enough. The final vessel for the top section is the Damsel. Now, the Damsel is 100% smashable, however, you must take regard her personality. For starters, her physique is actually pretty average, pretty good, not bad, and is really well toned and slim, so if you like that, there's the Damsel here. And overall, I like to say too, she's actually bigger in certain areas than the other princesses are, which I don't understand how, but yes, she actually is. And overall, that's kind of crazy, but it is what it is, alright? Moving forward, the only thing that I have to take note of is just her behavior, honestly, where it may seem like a good thing or a bad thing depending on your preference about a girl, honestly. I don't know. Regardless, whatever the hell that it was about, she's kind of crazy for you, okay? She's love-dovey crazy for you. She's love-struck, she follows you blindly, and it's unconditional love, and she don't really care how you say to her or whatever you do, she just follows you 100%. If you want to leave her alone, she'll leave you alone. If you want to do stuff to her, she lets you do so stuff with her, if that makes sense. Yeah, she's just that crazy, honestly, and I don't think she really cares and doesn't really regard herself as to anything in this sense too. So yeah, that's probably like the bad thing we gotta say about the Damsel, where she doesn't really have her own expressions, her own values or opinions, all that such too. So it may seem fake and dull in certain areas of time. So it's just like, I guess that's the only bad thing for the Damsel, honestly. Overall, she's okay. She's pretty decent, and if she had emotions, it'd probably be better, but she doesn't. She doesn't really have any. Alright, that's it for this video. This is only for the first half, honestly. I still gotta make the second half, and as for speaking right now, I'm still fixing it and, well, mastering it, honestly, too. So, be the lookout for that, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. I'll appreciate it if you do, honestly. And another thing you should probably go check out is probably my video, honestly, the one I just made recently, the Baddest Vessel. If you still haven't checked that out, or see anything like it, I recommend you go do so, because it's just the exact same thing as this one, but shittier in a quality sense too, where the mic is just pretty garbage. But regardless, it's still funny and still good, so maybe you like it, maybe not, entirely up to you. But yeah, I hope you guys go watch that one too, and subscribe while you're at it, because like always, it'll help me as much as it can, honestly. But you don't have to, I'm not going to force you. And That's all I just want to say before I let you guys go. So I'll stop talking and, well, like always, I'll let you guys go.